All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel or the podcast or whatever you're listening from. This is Bros Having Convos.
Bros having combos.
I'm Wes.
And I am Tim.
So that's bad. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a show we recently finished, and that show is called All of Us Are Dead. For those who haven't heard of it, it's a show on Netflix. It's a South Korean show that kind of revolves around a fictional high school in Korea, and the backdrop is a zombie apocalypse. It's like a zombie movie. It has all the
Follows all the zombie
tropes and that everyone's familiar with. So we're gonna be talking about it because we recently finished it, and from a general feeling of the show, we personally really liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like I'm not one to watch and seek out zombie movies. I only watch certain ones. I'm kind of very picky and choosy on which ones I watch. It's I guess before this show, this is a movie, but this is probably my favorite zombie show. Probably the best zombie type of media I've watched was Train to Busan. And that was another like South Korean movie. That was so good.
It was a really well made, well written, well shot. Like the characters are cool. The story, just everything in there.
It was just
outstanding.
So good. Yeah,
it's definitely an outstanding movie from
our perspectives. But I think with All of Us Are Dead, it kind of follows in the same kind of way I feel towards Train to Busan is the same way I feel towards All of Us Are Dead.
Yeah.
And it's let's just get into it right now.
Yeah. So what were your highlights to the show?
Highlights. I have to say.
Actually, what do you think of the length of the show? So,
okay, yeah.
I think, because
it's a 12-episode show.
12 episodes. It's not
Netflix.
bad.
And it's about an hour long. Hour-long episodes.
12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours.
That's like one thing I just don't particularly like about Korean shows. How it's just, they tend to be an hour long. It's just oh man, that's like watching a short movie, basically, and
it's. Every episode is a movie.
Yeah, basically, and it's that's how it is for. I mean, at least the dramas that I've seen, so long. Why do they have to be so long?
Yeah, I mean, okay. In terms of episode length, how many episodes there were? There were 12, which I think was okay, but I feel like they could have trimmed down 1 or 2 episodes. There's I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's one I was like, I feel like this is dragging on a little bit, So maybe if it was 1 or 2 episodes shorter and it would be a 10-episode series, that's great. I'm always more for the advocate of quality over quantity when it comes to especially shows where the episodes are 1 hour long. Yeah. Just have in there the things that would make that contribute to the story the most. We don't need filler.
Yeah. I think even though it was long, I think, at least in my opinion, is worth the hour episode, because I think with just with TV shows in general, they can you get into character, you got a lot more character development.
Lots more character development,
a lot more time for character development, and I think it was the hour-long episodes kind of justified that.
I'm not saying
the character development and the story justified the long.
I'm not saying that the long episodes were wrong, but I
feel I'm definitely not saying.
If we cut out a little bit of the shots or the segments where they kind of lingered a little bit, it would be enough to get rid of 1 whole hour worth of content. But that's fine.
Yeah.
What
and
I mean?
I definitely I don't want to make it sound like I'm against the hour longness of the of All of Us Are Dead. Actually, I think I might even appreciate how long it was,
because we'll get into that. I think the great thing that the show does is really develops its characters.
Yeah, I think
really, really well.
Really nice. It's really good.
I guess
for pretty much every single character in there didn't feel. They felt like they had a purpose.
Yeah, they had
a general.
Most of them.
Most of them. They generally all contributed. It's not like, hey, like he didn't do anything throughout the entire show. Everyone had like a pretty general purpose for being there.
Yeah,
and being in the show.
So I'd say a big highlight of the show, I guess, some of the opening moments. I think like episode 1 when the zombie outbreak. That's always like always like a highlight.
Yeah,
what draws people
like,
in initially.
It's like the hook.
Yeah, it's the hook.
It's just like, okay, how does it happen? Like, and then how does it work up to like the bad situation in the middle of the show?
I think, I feel like what sells a zombie movie initially to get you in, like the hook. If you have a strong hook, and see, not all zombie shows, zombie movies, hooks are created equal. Because I think that Train to Busan's hook was really, really good.
I think they. We actually we could talk about
that's a
completely another. But then the way that they started it, I think, set it apart from the other the other zombie movies. But that's a whole nother
that's a whole nother
episode. But
no, with All of Us Are Dead, I really enjoyed the long takes when it came to like that first episode of the outbreak part, where there was just really long takes. And I think that the work that went into that, of coordinating.
Are you talking about like the one shots?
Yeah, the oneer. They call it the
oneers. Yeah,
like the work that all the actors and all the crew does to like get everyone coordinated for this one shot is is pretty amazing.
And can we just say like the zombie actors? They went
they went
above and beyond.
I feel like these ones went
I think
even more so than the average.
No, like I think
they went all out.
They're definitely outstanding zombies.
Yeah.
I think they, at least for me, they probably have to rank S tier on A or S tier on like the within like all the different zombie movies, zombies in the zombie movies.
Yeah,
probably have to be. They're probably like my number one.
Yeah.
Because they're interesting.
Yeah,
they're interesting, like characters in the story.
The
not like as like all the zombies get character development, but then like they're interesting. They're not just like mindless like cocoons that just walk around.
Yeah,
and just to like get run over and like shot down and all that.
Yeah,
they actually looked interesting. I think the actors really made that.
Yeah, the people who played the zombies, props to them.
Yeah, like you guys did an awesome job with that. It's so crazy. Like they like I heard stuff about like stunt people, how they throw themselves off like buildings and stuff. They throw themselves off like moving cars. And it's like these zombies are just like like throwing themselves up against like moving vehicles and just like up against the walls, and they're like, that has to take a lot of like core strength. Yeah. Like when they're on the ground, like it's like that's definitely work for them. And you guys, a lot of you guys don't get a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
Like you guys like are like it's just hot. Props to you guys.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so for me it was those oneer shots.
Yeah.
I think they had several more throughout the show, but I think that was one of my highlights. It was some of those shots were just great. Yeah,
like one of the beginning shots, like how it's like they're showing from Chongsan and Onjo's perspective, he was like leading her out, like out of the school, and then it's like, oh, can't go that way, and then they follow this way. They follow them this way. It's like you're in their perspective. You're seeing it from their perspective.
I feel like I want to make a movie or a show or whatever, and then like make a oneer, because those oneers are so cool.
Cannot imagine how much coordination, like you said, goes into
like that kind of stuff.
You need to set up all the props. You need to set up all the people to be running around. It's just like, but imagine like having to reset, like, okay, we have to do another take of that.
Yeah.
It's like, cannot imagine how much work that is to do that and perfecting it too.
Yeah, it's crazy. But how about you? What is a highlight?
I think we touched on a couple, like the character development. They did a really good job.
Okay, what is one character development and how they started and how they ended? Can you like explain why you thought it was good?
I think it's pretty cool how Chong-san.
Yeah, he's
like,
the main character.
The main man.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm not saying that he's my favorite character, but then like it's definitely a pretty good performance. I like how his character arc, it kind of showed that he's like, oh, like he's just a your average guy.
Yeah, he's kind of
average Joe.
Yeah, he
likes the girl.
Yeah, he kind of just is just there. He likes the girl, but he doesn't want to say it.
Yeah, like those kind of shows, those kind of guys, those characters in the show.
Yeah,
but I think like he starts off as that average Joe, and it's just like, yeah, and then how he ends off is just like not the complete opposite, but then he eventually improves.
Yeah, he improves. He steps up. He steps
up to the
like
plate,
big time,
like a lot.
Yeah,
like you see him like I don't know what's a good example of the beginning of his character arc, but I definitely know a couple examples of the end of his character arc where like, or like in the middle too, like he like takes that leap, like he jumps into the fray.
Yeah.
Like, the part where they're trying to get a phone.
Oh, phone. Yeah. It's
like him and his best friend are there. I forget the guy's name. But then his best friend are there, and then he's literally throwing himself there, and he's like, he tells his friend, just go without me. And then he goes and runs out into the hallway. I'm like, no, he didn't.
Yeah,
like,
that's insane.
Takes a lot. That's a big courage
to
do that in that situation.
Yeah, and it really shows his character development to that point, because at that point, whether it was because he just he's being a high schooler and protecting people is not really
protecting people isn't like your everyday thing.
It's not like an everyday thing from exactly
a whole zombie apocalypse that's going outside.
It's not something that happens every day, but to see that he stepped up every single time, along with his best friend too, they stepped up every single time. That shows what was his personality, his values, and his morals deep inside was already there. Yeah. It just took something like
it was magnified out of him.
Is
drawn out of him because of the and that's a good thing because of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. So we can go into that I want to talk about like the whole backdrop of the zombie apocalypse, how it's not the.
And I don't what sets it apart from, and like I think one of the main thing that sets this one apart from your typical zombie movie
is that thing. But it shows like a really interesting the zombie apocalypse, I think, is just a mere backdrop to the story that they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's just a theory of mine. But then you can see, especially in Chong-san's character development, right? It took a zombie apocalypse for him to actually step out, to grow, but then also kind of reveal his true character. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you can take the flip side of that, which was like the girl, what's her name? Oh, Nayeon, right? Yeah, Nayeon. So like she didn't hate she hated one of his Chung-san's best friend, Byung-soo, I think.
Byung-soo.
Yeah, she hated his guts, and it just magnified the whole apocalypse thing. Magnified that character trait where she's just a very hateful person.
And I think that's one thing that I'm not now noticing too. Like basically whatever their personality was before,
like their base personality,
it drawed out and like magnified their personality. That's what the zombie apocalypse.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah. It took Chong-san's like base personality, which was he is pretty caring. He at the end of the day, he wants to protect the girl he likes.
Yeah,
right?
if anything, he wants to protect his friend, his childhood friend.
Exactly, too. In general, right? He wanted to protect those around him. That was like his base personality.
Yeah.
This whole thing magnified what was inside.
Yeah, he was the one who he's definitely one of the, if not the leader, he was one of the like leaders of the group in the high school.
In the show's like a little main cast, right?
Yeah, like he's the one that's like, okay, like whether they like strategize the plan together. It's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is where we have to. This is our next step. Okay, let's do that, and I'm gonna be the one who does that.
Yeah. So I think that was really really good.
Yeah.
About it.
And I think, what's it called? Well, yeah. You know what? What is your favorite character? You know,
I mean, it's just like
just generally, because I definitely have a favorite character.
I can't say like all the characters are pretty solid. Like they all kind of grew on me over time. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I have to say like either Chong-san or his not his best friend, not the one who died. Yeah, but the other guy in the suit.
The guy in the jacket.
With the jacket, whatever suit. Yeah. I forget his name. But he was pretty cool too.
He's the cool guy.
Yeah, he was like the cool
handsome guy that the girls like. Kind
of thing. Yeah.
But even though he was like the handsome, I don't know if he would say that popular guy. But then I forget how he came off to everyone else. But then he's just like a good-hearted guy.
He was just a really good guy.
Yeah. He
would
wasn't
protect
like
his friends. He threw himself into danger to protect what's her name?
Man, it was a while since we watched it.
Yeah, we just finished it,
but
that was like a month ago.
Yeah, that was a month ago. Yeah, so it's still kind of fresh in our minds.
Yeah, but he wanted
that girl that he liked.
Yeah.
The president.
What the guy president. Called him? The guy called her
Haffy or something.
Hamby?
Hamby or something.
Hamby.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
See,
the
funny guy was funny. You know, they had the funny guy.
Yeah.
But
I think no, like, cause like I guess the favorite character stems from like how we're talking about the characters. That's why, and like how their traits and personalities were magnified. Like I think Nayeon, for example. Yeah, like. That's definitely. I think she had like some
she had a good character arc,
but because it's just so unsatisfying. She didn't.
Yeah,
I'm just. They leave it so it's like you can only wonder what would like.
Yeah, you only can wonder how
their reaction would be if they would hate her. They're like, continue to hate her. Just like, get out.
Yeah.
So you're not a part of us anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty
wishing death upon her. It's like, get out of here.
Exactly. I
feel like that's how it would go because. They literally
you're left wondering, and I think it was very intentional.
Yeah,
to do that because
I feel like it's not
like that important either.
It's not super important. Like to the viewer, the character arc was finished.
Yeah,
but then like
to the overall story, if we got that reconciliation between her and the group, I think, it'd be good, right?
Yeah,
to see it.
Good.
But then I think. As a story overall, she's not a main character.
Yeah,
she's a supporting cast.
Yeah, and I feel like you would think where the show was going. It's like, and then she's gonna reconcile or get back together. But then the show beat that expectation.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I think that's one thing that the show did. It's like it kind of like broke a couple expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I think that
like the really predictable parts, it just kind of broke them.
Yeah, well, it still has predictable
it does.
Parts.
Yeah,
but then that instance of her character and her story, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, and when it happened, I was like,
oh man, and she literally gets
she's dead.
Yeah, like she literally, like from the audience point of view, that was a really really good character arc. I think.
Because you saw positive change.
Yeah,
she's like. Literally, like everyone hated her.
Yeah,
she's
everyone
like that
hated
character
her.
That everyone hates.
Yeah,
and then at some point, she comes to a realization because her teacher says like, "Hey, go back to the group. go back to the group.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's nice, you know.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
then she. It wasn't just like okay, I'll just go to the group, whatever.
There's literally
a
change in
there's
her. There's a genuine change in her, and then she's trying to.
She's about to make amends.
And
by
like
bringing
them food what they needed.
Yeah, so like I thought that was just such a good.
Yeah, it was a good
character arc,
a satisfying, almost satisfying.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I don't think it probably wouldn't have been much if they did make it like a satisfying conclusion to her story, her character arc.
Yeah.
But I think that was a really good. It's like, even though like it shows that it's like, even though people can go to the point of like murdering another person, I think it still shows that there's still hope for those people.
Yeah, there's still
through through other people's good-heartedness and willing to give them a chance.
And it's the sad part of her story too, is that the friends will never know.
Yeah.
That she was willing to come. She changed, yeah. So
that's
a tough.
It's kind of like oh man.
Yeah.
Like
so
that's like, oh man, she's good now. She's like, she changed. So, but then they'll never know
exactly
that she's a different person.
And I think too, it's like that's what kind of sets this show apart. It was like moments like that, like what do you call those things? But like story segments, or that whole character arc was very, it set the show apart for me, because I was like, oh wow, they decided to write it that way,
It like made it so that it's like it wasn't predictable, I guess.
Yeah.
But that like this, like that, the whole backdrop of the zombie apocalypse magnified that personality of how she literally would go to the lengths of killing someone in order to make herself look, put her in a good light.
Yeah, she wasn't able to admit that she was wrong.
Yeah, that's a character.
That's a character.
We probably all have those people in our lives who they cannot be wrong.
They cannot be wrong, and she was exactly that. And
I think that's just what makes her character character
is so good.
Like,
and
being able to admit that she was wrong, and she's like, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And you just saw like that growth in the. You're just like, oh,
no,
that's
and
great.
Okay.
And that was just that one character.
Before we get into another, like, I answered who's my favorite. I didn't answer it.
Oh yeah. What? Oh yeah.
I don't know. Okay, to keep it short, I don't, because I want to go into another.
If you were to pick one.
I think Chong-san. Because he was so cool.
Yeah, no.
Remember that whole part in the library where he eventually stabbed the dude's eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this guy's good. We can get into that, the bully guy, in a little bit.
Yeah.
I have some things to say about him.
I just got this. Well, first of all, they wrote him really well.
Yeah, yeah.
But, what is your favorite character anyway? Before we get on to that,
Chong-san. Chong-san is part of my favorite, because at the end, him giving his life to save the group was just like a.
That was just like.
And to know that, like,
self-sacrifice again.
Self-sacrifice is just a strong.
I think anyone can see how great that is.
Yeah, how selfless that is, and in like him knowing that he was never gonna be with that Onjo at the end of it, like knowing that, like
it's like, no, he bagged her.
Yeah, he bagged her,
but then he would never be able to live in a relationship. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, that's tough, man.
And I think that's just another thing about the show. It just like really knows how to play with your emotions.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, Chong-san's probably my favorite. But I do want to touch on one more thing about Nayeon's thing. Yeah. That I was like, oh man, that kind of was when she had the video camera, right? And then it was like after they were saying like stuff, saying their last words pretty much, like on camera. And the thing that I was like, oh man, that's it shows even more so, it magnifies Chong-san's character, right? Yeah. Was when Chong-san was doing his thing, and he was like, hey, I think he was either talking to his mom or like his Gyeong-soo's mom or something. He's like, yeah, sorry, Gyeong-soo died or something, and it was my fault. And then when she heard that, it was like, like, What?
No, and I guess that made her realize something.
Yeah, it
that
made her
created
realize
character growth in her. Just like how could someone?
Yeah,
how
exactly.
could anyone do that?
Exactly.
Admit that they're wrong and admit a fault.
She at that point, right, in that scene, she realized that she was wrong, right? At that point, she was kind of realizing, yeah, that was pretty bad. How could they accept me back? And her hearing that thing that Chong-san said was kind of like that turning point. Like, okay, you know, how does someone still act that way even after I killed their best friend? Yeah. How is that possible? That kind of turned her perspective around. Yeah. And it shows Chong-san's character at the same time. Yeah. He was willing, even though he said to her face, like, how could you kill someone like that? Yeah. He didn't blame her in the end. Yeah. He took the blame himself. I was like, oh, how does one go to those lengths to like
that's just like, you know, exemplifies his character.
He was willing to take the blame even though it wasn't his fault, and in the moment he was yelling at her saying it's your fault, you know.
I think just like that's like his main thing, like how selfless that he was. He was like the leader.
Yeah, he was so selfless to the point like where he took the blame of his best friend dying. He took the fall at the end of the show.
Yeah. I think just like if we want to like still talking about Chong-san, just like again like I kind of want to go back to like how like he basically bagged Onjo. Yeah. It's just like but then it's like such a bittersweet ending to him. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. Yeah. But then, oh man, that's great. Yeah. But then again, that sucks. Yeah. I think that a part that kind of moved me, like if I was to cry, if I was just like a completely emotional, like someone who just cries at the first tick of some I don't know what the saying
what
would
are
be.
You trying to say?
No, as someone who cries really easily, that's what.
Yeah, okay.
If I was, that would probably be the place that I would cry.
Where
because us as guys, we know how it is to like just like
to finally bag the girl.
To finally bag a girl.
Like I mean, not to say the accomplishment that you get is just like
the accomplishment. Just like we all know, like
we all know,
and it can all like sympathize with
with what he was
feeling at that time, and then
to know,
and then while he was like savoring that moment of like I'm like the line that got me is like, I'm the happiest man in this coin. Because that's how guys feel.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the high school setting when you're so young like that and you finally get the girl you like for so long.
And you do. And like I know like someone commented on that. It's like that's a corny line. It's like. No,
what do you mean?
That was I think that was a meaningful line.
Yeah,
at least the guys.
It's
because we know exactly how that feels, and then like
to
like say know and like savor that moment. But then at the same time, what made it bitter is just like he's doing that while he was about to die.
Yeah,
and he was risking and like sacrificing his life for the rest of the group.
And see like. I mean, like just logically, right? He has adrenaline just flowing through his veins because of that. So just imagine how much he was just like, ugh! Ugh! And then having to yell something and having the energy to run and dodge his like. I think it was completely warranted, that kind of response.
Yeah, and like just that I kind of teared up a little bit, not like.
Actually,
like my mouth,
your mouth,
my mouth watered, my eyes watered up a little bit. We're just like, I'm the happiest man in this, because like we can sympathize with that.
Yeah, you can sympathize.
If we're trying to put like ourselves in his shoes, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sympathizing with him, just like, man, that's great, man.
It is, yeah.
It's great, but then that is such a bittersweet end to Chong-san, and that's just another thing that made him great.
Yeah. We've been
sympathizing with him like a bro.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Chong-san, so we should talk about other aspects of this show that kind of like we can bring up to our attention that we noticed.
we still.
Yeah, we barely been talking about Chong-san.
Yeah.
Like this whole time.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
and,
he was
just one. If I were to say one more thing about him.
Okay, from here on, no more Chong-san.
I think just one last thing to say about Chong-san is like how much the show and like the writers portrayed him as like a masculine character.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's good.
And along with that, how the show portrayed the male characters.
Yeah,
they portrayed them really well.
Yeah.
The male and female characters.
This
really
might
well, I think.
this, whether you agree with us or not. I think they had a really good portrayal of the male characters in the school.
Yeah.
How every single time it came to like something that needed brute strength, it was always the guys that were there to hold,
and it was always
back.
It was always
hold
the guys who like stepped in front of the girls.
Yeah,
to, like,
it was always
like,
that.
You know, like when you like boil it down for men, it's just like we provide and protect, and that protect instinct, that protect kind of like role, was exemplified really well in the show.
I think yeah, I totally agree, because in any like regular situation, right? Why would a man not do that, right? Unless they were like a complete wimp. Like, remember the chubby one?
Yeah, that's another character.
He's another character that grew. In like the most smallest way.
Yeah.
But it was still really good.
Like,
you remember?
To like wait, which chubby guy?
The chubby guy,
like
the one with the archer girl. And then,
that
like,
guy?
the other senior, yeah.
Oh, like both of them grew.
Oh yeah, actually yeah.
Both
chubby guys.
Yeah, like they both grew, like just to like kind of give like a Spark Notes version of like their character arcs. It's like started out complete wimps, but then they slowly were able to like fulfill that protector role as men.
And I think that was great, because especially the other one that was with the seniors, the archer girl, that dude, like he was almost getting on my nerves at some point, because I was like, dude, just like,
he was always,
remember he was like, oh, let's not go outside, it's daytime, they're gonna see us.
Yeah, and it's like when it's nighttime. Oh no, we shouldn't go out because like we can't see.
I was like, are you serious, bro? Just like grow up,
Like here, like 90% of the show, he's just like whining and crying.
Yeah, whining and crying.
But then at the end of the show, his character arc ended as
he was like, go. He was rightfully jumped out of this thing to
just so that he can like
be used as bait to help his friend
to, like,
go out,
like the rest of the rest of the group to go to safety. And same thing with the other guy. He was like comic relief.
Yeah. Oh, he was funny.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. Funny. And then two, he also had that like he started off as like a wimp too, not as much as a wimp as the other guy, but then he grew to like be a protector of the whole group too.
Yeah. I think I really appreciate that about the show. And that whole like the men do exactly what men were designed to do, protect, right? And you saw like all the women kind of like support from the back, because obviously the
like,
women are not going to be able to hold a horde of zombies, but the men were able to, right?
I mean, like when you like look at them like just physically, they're not as big, they're not as strong like physically as
you just have to be honest with yourself too. It's just like something you see every day. It's not
like when in that terms of the show, it's just like, and plus they weren't doing nothing.
It is. Yeah, exactly. It's not like the woman just sat back and did nothing.
No, they supported from the back, like you're saying.
The back,
the men like stood up like front lines, and they supported from the back, just like throwing some like 1, 2, from the back.
Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate it about the show.
Yeah, just like the good, masculine figures.
But like I know this is not gonna be like PC, this particular thing, but I think I really enjoy the non-wokeness of the show.
No, yeah, there isn't any like woke trash in there.
Woke, like, okay, I can think of several situations where like if this was an American show, or if this was made by American show, I'm like 99% sure there would have been a scene where a girl saves a guy's life,
and then kind of
is like made to look like the woman
she's
is stronger
and stronger than the
guy. There would have been several scenes throughout the show that was just like that, and there was none of that.
Yeah, I mean, there were like, I guess, like, you know, like with the archers, I'm like, oh okay, yeah, these guys are
yeah,
like the archer girl. I'm like, yo, she's
pretty cool.
She's pretty cool. Like with the art, like her and the guy too, just like. Yeah, we need more of the archers in here during the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly, and it's not because she's a woman.
Yeah.
It's just because she's an archer.
Yeah.
Like whether she's a guy or a girl, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that she's an archer. We need more of the people, right? That's just right. But the show didn't have to lean into like the wokeness.
Any wokeness
just like, to be good. You know,
strong, independent women. Women are better than men.
Exactly,
and stronger than men, and
it didn't have
any way like that.
I mean, as far as I remember, it didn't have any of that, and which I really, because like as soon as you add that kind of stuff, like really, you know, are you serious? And you mentioned before, like especially since it's a high school, it didn't have any like.
Oh well, like I think that doesn't need to be like a woke thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not necessarily a woke thing. It's
I think one thing that I think that if all of us are dead was made in America, there'd be you know, like on top of the other changes that Wes mentioned is that
you would have
you would see really unnecessary things that does not contribute to the story at all.
Exactly.
Or to the characters at all, I think. Like, for example, if it was made in America, you would have just unnecessary sex scenes. Yeah,
and I think that's what's cool about Korean shows is they don't really show many like kissing scenes.
Yeah, no, I think with like Korean shows, like generally, you know, like if they have a kissing scene and stuff, it's usually it's like a rated PG kiss.
Yeah,
it's
and
usually
it's like
just a peck,
and it's usually at the end of the show or close to the end of the show.
I think I can like appreciate that. It's like it's like they value.
They value that act.
Yeah,
you know, it's not just something that's like, oh yeah, come here. You know.
Yeah, it's
like something that you have to earn it. You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
It's like. It's still like kissing still has value.
Yeah,
it still holds some kind of value, I think. And plus, it's like you don't have like unnecessary sex scenes. You don't have unnecessary like making out scenes and stuff.
Yeah, it's
just
really...
like, come on. It's like I know, like in the real world, they
might happen.
Stuff like whatever. That happens in the real world, sure. But
we don't need to see.
We don't need to see like high schoolers having sex or anything.
Especially
like, how does that add to the story? How does it
add value to this story? And especially coming from a filmmaker's perspective, when it comes to like making any type of story, the scenes you put in have to have value and have to add something into the story. It can't just be like, okay, we need to introduce X character and boy character and girl character. What's the best way we can introduce them?
A sex scene.
Yeah, perfect. You know, in America, that's exactly what they do.
It's like, of course, we don't know like what the mindset is, but then it's like this show doesn't have a sex scene, and is probably I think is really highly acclaimed.
Yeah, and I think it it like stands taller than, and I think it just. It's better than most Netflix shows on Netflix already. You know, it just stands like on its own.
No, I think
I'm not saying like, it's perfect, but it's really, really good.
And I think that just goes to show, like, you know, like with going back to the unnecessary stuff is like you don't need to have the sex scenes.
Exactly.
You don't need to have the wokeness. You don't need to have high schoolers making out and having sex and doing random stuff. In order to have a good show, a good story.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like, what do these things? Are these things necessary? Like, how do they add to the story?
Yeah,
you know, unless it has a very, but then
I mean, you can like
you can if you find a way to
like people could probably find a
way to introduce it,
put it into the show, but like from me, if I was making a film, like we don't need this. Come on.
Yeah, I just appreciate that they didn't have any of that. I'm like, really, come on, you know, and you know I just, I think that was one of the things I noticed.
And
the wokeness and like all the unnecessary stuff
we
didn't put in.
Need to have woke stuff and unnecessary other stuff to have a good show.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of the point I'm just trying to make about this. Talking about this whole thing is like you don't need all that stuff.
Yeah,
just tell a good story.
Tell a good story.
What happened to telling a good story?
Yeah,
I'm so sick and tired
of woke
propaganda.
Yeah,
and especially if this thing did have a lot of woke stuff, but it still somehow was able to like tell a good story, then I would have.
Sure.
Yeah, I would talk still about it, and
we'll still talk about it.
I'll still bash the woke stuff because I'm like, okay, really.
Yeah. And
right, so
I think, yeah, that's good.
But that can finish off our woke segment.
Let's talk about
the villain.
What is the I forgot.
I totally forgot.
It was like a month ago that we watched this, so. Yeah, we forgot like most of the names. Besides our boy Chung-san.
Chung-san, let's go.
Yeah, but
yeah,
what do you think of it?
I think you would as a villain, he's very effective because the point of a villain is to not like him and not right
and to not like him. And I think a good villain is part of the character development of the characters.
Yes. His actions push the main or the protagonist in the direction that they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
To their final form, I guess you could say. Right? So I think he is a very effective villain, and he
just gotta go back to the writing, but
it just goes back to the writing.
The writers wrote the villain. If you can like make, I think a tell of like a good like filmmaker, a good writer is that if you can make the audience feel a certain way that you want them to feel, whether it be fear, laughter, happiness, sadness, then that's a good sign
that you're doing what you exactly intended to do.
Yeah, that's a good writing.
Yeah, good writing.
Direction.
Yes. For him, he was just like that classic villain,
Yeah.
Just a classic villain who just not necessarily he's just doing he was just doing bad stuff for the sake of doing bad stuff.
It wasn't completely just for the sake of bad stuff.
Well, initially it was.
Yeah.
Right? Initially. Because
he started off as like
this bad kid.
One of the bullies.
Bad bully kids
in the school.
Messed up.
Yeah. But then he also gotta like know that he was like the underdog in it, not underdog. He is the second in command.
Yeah, second in command.
He was looked down upon by his
by the bullies.
Even by the
bullies
his leader,
his group of bullies. So that
another thing.
Adds another layer to him, right?
Yeah,
because it didn't just come out just pure like I hate everyone, but
also
came from he was always second in command,
or
so
he was
always looked down.
treated badly by his.
He's treated like second rate.
Yeah.
He's always the little pawn, basically. They have like a name for him too.
Oh, I forget.
They had a name for him where basically it was like he was just like second in command, or like I forget. It's like something along the lines of like you're your little.
Yeah,
you're like the second in command.
Yeah.
You just do what you're told.
Yeah, you
kind of thing.
Little dog. Or something.
You little dog. Yeah, like
okay, doggy.
Come do this.
Do what you're told. Do what you're told. Do what I ask you to do.
Yeah. So that adds a little bit of a layer. So it's not just pure rage.
And that I guess gave him a little bit of a reason for his actions. Not justification, but then
I'm not saying
reason why he's doing what he's doing is because a mixture of a bunch of stuff. Like he was looked down upon in his group. He's treated
group.
like a slave, like a dog by him. So I guess that's why he bullied other people too, so that he can feel that power.
He feels that superiority
that his his leader does. And to, I guess, like offset the feelings that he has of inferiority in his bully group.
Yeah, he's just insecure. That's basically it.
So, don't be a bully. That's a lesson of bullies.
And don't bully people. That's messed up too.
Yeah, that's what bullies do, though. Huh? Yeah, I was like, don't be a bully. And it's like, and don't bully people.
Oh, never mind.
No, but yeah. And I think he was written really well. Like he got to a certain point where he just like did anything he wanted. Yeah. Basically, he did a bunch of bad stuff just cause again, like just I guess to feel like he's powerful over others. Like, to feel like to strike fear into like Chong-san and his friends made him feel like higher than and yeah.
I think it was really like when he became a zombie, like when he became a zombie, I was like, oh, perfect, he's gone, he's
it's
dead.
Like, oh man.
But then
right, now they just need to escape the school and everything will be great.
Yeah, but I really like how they added that next layer of like terror and like urgency when he was like just roaming around the school.
Yeah, it's like they put you on like the edge of your seat with him. Like you're like, I don't know when he's gonna
pop out.
He's gonna pop out of nowhere, and then they're gonna have like a whole like fight with him and all that.
Oh, and then when he kept dying, quote unquote dying. And then he just wasn't dead. I'm like,
it's like, oh man, how are we gonna take care of this man?
Yeah, like part of me was like, man, this show is like, like how can you just keep reviving someone? Like that?
No, and then what? That again, it's just like the writers made you feel that way about him. It's just like, oh man, why does he keep coming back? We don't like this guy. And then like I guess the way that they took him out was. And it was again with Chong-san.
Yeah, see, and that kind of ties into the antagonist pushes the protagonist like forward.
Yeah.
Helps out with their development, and he 100% helped out with the I guess not only Chong-san, the group's development, because they had to like run from him, fight him off during that. So overall. But yeah, I think it helped Chong-san the most. Yeah. It grew his character the most.
Because he hated Chong-san.
Yeah, he had a grudge against Chong-san because of him stabbing his eye with the phone. Yeah. Which I was kind of weird. I was like, he stabbed his eye with the phone.
Like you could do that? Like
I don't want to try. But
I guess you can't. Like I don't like we're not going to try it, but yeah, I think the villain was well written because he
did exactly what a villain was supposed to do.
Yeah, and then like they wrote him in a way that the audience hated him, basically. Yeah. But yeah, and you said that you wanted to touch on Onjo.
Yeah, I want to touch on Onjo a little bit because she is one of the
character or something.
She's like the second main character along with Chong-san, so I just want to touch on her. I think. Well, like, what did you think of her kind of character?
Oh, she's definitely attractive.
Oh yeah,
she's attractive girl, Korean girl.
Yeah. She was like in the beginning where she was asking Chong-san, which one looks better, this one or this one? I was over there with Chong-san, like
exactly, like it's like
I was over there just
all right, man. It's like, come on, you got this, bro.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I kind of feel that way about him. I was like if I was there, I was his friend, I'd be like, you got this, bro. You got this.
Come on, let's go.
But
what do you want to say about her character?
No, I just want we can touch on her character a little bit.
Oh yeah, she was the.
She was like a voice of reason.
What do you mean?
In the group, because remember at some point.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? I think it was like Jimin or something.
Jimin, yeah.
She was like, no, the Hambi one. The Hambi
we have
girl.
to kill her.
Yeah, we have to kill her now because she's bit, right? She's bit. And then she was like, no, she's
Yeah.
She's
she was the
voice of reason.
Like you might say like the guy with the jacket was the voice of reason, but I think he liked her. So that was the reason why he wanted to protect her.
Yeah, but she was also the voice of reason because remember she is I forget which way it went, but one of them hated the other.
Yeah. And
I think I forget which way it went, but even in midst of that, they still ended up friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was the voice of reason for the entire group. and it kind of like try to bring it down.
Remember,
she had to calm down a lot of
the
situations.
Jimin, she wanted to be like all cynical and stuff. Like, yeah, no one's gonna come for us.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
maybe we should
right?
just like why what's the point of living? What's the point of surviving? And then she was just like, hey, don't think like that.
Yeah,
she's like hope. She kept the hope alive in the.
She embodied hope in the group, right? Because she was one. Was she like the main one that kind of like was like, we got this, guys, and she had hope that her dad was eventually gonna come and save her, right?
Which he eventually did.
He did, yeah.
Like,
so
what a guy.
What a guy.
What a man.
What a man. See, another good
masculine going out his way, self-sacrifice
to save his daughter and his friends. Yeah. Her friends. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just want to touch on her because that's what I know is in the show for me. She was that voice of reason, you know. She was like, no, hey, she's not turned into a zombie yet. Let's just wait.
Let's just wait it out.
She's not doing anything.
Let's not have like any more innocent people just like
needlessly die. Yeah,
needlessly kill like another survivor. We're all in this together, guys.
And then even like she was telling them like, hey, don't think like that. Yeah. And even at the end of the show, when she would like sneak out of the quarantine camp, and then she saw like a fire on the roof. It's like, oh yeah, she might still. So like she kind of just embodied hope. Yeah, hope. In the group, right? Yeah. And we can touch on the other characters very briefly, but we don't really need to.
I think
they don't really.
I think if we touch on all the characters, it would be a very, very long episode.
Yeah, very long.
I think generally all the characters. Well, let's touch on Jimin real quick. Why was there no closure for her?
Yeah, no,
she literally died, and it was kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it's funny, but then like she died, and then no one batted an eye, no one remembered, no one noticed that she was gone, besides the girl in the pink. Yes. And then she didn't even say anything like, oh, where is she? She's gone.
On top of that, remember when
no one cared about her.
Remember when the girl, not the I don't want to say chubby girl. She wasn't chubby. She's just kind of. But that girl, you know what I'm talking about? The pink. Remember when she like tripped and fell and everything, and then Jimin was there, like, and then she walked away. She didn't help her friend.
Oh, not walked. She ran away.
She ran away, not helping her friend.
You could kind of see like, okay, like
in this
situation, like there would be people who would do the same thing as her, and there would be other people. There's like a 50-50 split, I think. Yeah. Because like you don't know, like
exactly, you don't know.
You don't like from everything that she's seen up to that point. She could literally die at that point. Yeah. But then she still.
I think See, it kind of show.
It's so weird how they just ended her. Yeah. I think that definitely has to be. I mean, it's not complete negative, but then
it's not a negative. It's just like, weird. That's weird.
It's kind of strange how they ended off her story, and then no one said. No, anything. It's like not even Chongsan.
Yeah, no one in Chongsan.
No, none of the girls. It's even the girl in pink who literally saw her run away. No one mentioned. Oh, we have another person like. Missing.
Yeah, because remember, every single time someone's missing, where'd they go?
But like for Jimin, did they not care about her?
I don't know.
Maybe, but I'm thinking that they probably had to cut scenes out to like make for time. Yeah. But then I think even if they did,
it was just kind of weird.
It was just weird that they didn't really.
They
didn't close off her arc. If there was an arc. Oh, well, I think that's the thing I want to touch on, like just very, very briefly. How in stories you could have a good arc and a bad arc. Mm-hmm. I think Jimin is a good example of a bad arc. Yeah. She was like the cynical one, and then and at the end of her arc, she ended up not growing. Yeah. She basically stayed the same.
Yeah, which is I'm not necessarily saying it's bad. But then it's kind of realistic in a sense. Yeah. Some people just don't change. Kind of like a negative. It's a negative. Character. It's a negative.
Not as in like, oh, it's bad writing. It's more of like you going like good growth, and then there's just
contrasted
with like just basically the opposite.
Growth. So I think that's a bigger discussion for the entirety of how they structured the show. Yeah. You have good arcs of like Chong-san and his friend.
Yeah, like see the villain, he had like a negative arc.
He had a negative arc going backwards.
The villain got even worse.
Yeah. And then in some cases
had positive ones.
Yeah, Jimin, for example, she went backwards.
Yeah, she didn't necessarily grow. She kind of stayed the same, and like she ended off worse than she like, instead of sacrificing herself like Chong-san would, on like the other hand, she just like decided to try and save herself. And that, you know, I guess that's a good
it's just like a
good lesson. Just, I mean, don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish, yeah.
Like, don't, like, you know, I think, you know, like everyone likes the Chong-san character. That's why.
Exactly. So, yeah, everyone likes a good character like him.
But what is it called? Moving on to our last couple things.
Before we close, I want to touch on like the broader picture of the story, like the backdrop of this zombie apocalypse thing. I thought it was very the zombie virus, basically. Yeah. I thought it was a very like unique way to tell it. You know, how it's not just like you know, they kind of use a little bit of realistic biology. I don't know how realistic it is. How it's like, it's just not the primal instinct, but like,
the basic instinct
to survive, right? Because everyone, right, on the basic level has some will and
to survive.
So like kind of playing on that, I guess.
I think the instinct of humans.
The humans and stuff, whatever.
And like basically, if you take away took away like their soul, I guess.
Yeah, take away their soul, that's what they are. Which to an extent, I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
That's a different take on it.
It's a different take. Like all the zombies, they always go like, oh, it was like some kind of virus, or like that was built in a lab or something, you know. Yeah. So it was unique, like, and then it was kind of like made because of the dad was sad that his son was being bullied. Yeah. So it kind of give like a background to it, but still, does not justify
the whole virus.
I mean, that guy creating
the professor had a good arc. He ended up giving himself up, like
fix what I've done.
It's like, please, just like okay, what I did was pretty messed up, so please stop this. He ended up giving himself.
Yeah, like, so I
think that's a
yeah,
that's a fairly good arc.
This is like another side thing. The cop side story. I think it was like a funny side thing. Yeah, it's kind of like a buddy cop thing.
Especially with the other guy, he's just like a complete wimp.
Yeah,
like, I was like, he's like, no, it's like, what are we gonna do with the baby? We can't bring the baby.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious, bro? Like, you know, like I was like,
I think you could kind of understand, because like he kept. I guess the cop had a good heart. He wanted to help everyone. Yeah. So, but then the other guy's like, no, we can't help everyone.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the two sides of it.
Is a contrast, you know, putting two completely
different points of view
together.
It's like you want to survive and save yourself, because realistically we can't save everyone. Yeah. But then the cop had the point of view is like, no, we got to save as much people as we can.
Yeah, and that's exactly what a cop should be doing anyway. Yeah. So I was like, at least for the cop, right? Once they entered the quarantine camp, they pretty much had no development after that. They had no like.
Yeah, no, like they didn't like. That's where their story ended, basically.
Yeah, like once they reached the quarantine camp, that's it. You know.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
I guess like because they didn't have, they're probably like pressed for time. Like they needed to end the show at this, probably had to end the show at a certain point, so they couldn't jam everything that they wanted, all the scenes and all the story arcs and ending and like tying up the loose ends. They couldn't fit all that stuff at the end. So but I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It's kind of like the Jimin part, and then the cop.
Yeah, they didn't tie up the loose end. That loose end.
Oh, remember man, we keep going to all these tangents. Remember the pregnant girl?
Oh yeah, that
was
sad.
Okay. That was
sad.
I thought that was
first of all, I thought she was gonna survive. She was gonna be one of the survivors, but
yeah, I thought she was gonna be like a lone survivor, and then she would meet up with like one or two people, and then they would get out. But then they went down the route that she got bit, and then she ties herself up to not have her have her baby,
to protect your baby.
Her baby. I was like, oh, it's sad.
Such a sad like character.
Yeah.
Very tragic character.
Tragic.
And I think that's very
it exemplifies like her exemplifies the girl's character first of all, where she, you know, even though she could have done anything to just kind of, oh, I'm gonna turn, and then you know,
she cared about her child.
She cared about her child even to the end.
Yeah,
where she used her last bit of strength, her last bit of like mind power to like tie herself up so she wouldn't attack her own baby. So I was like, okay, that's admirable.
I think that's very admirable, and like exemplifies also like the mother bear kind of thing, protecting her young kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a good.
Yeah, it was a good.
That's a strong female character. I think.
Yeah, if you want to talk about strong female characters, I mean, okay, I don't want to like push down like the female characters, but you want to talk about a strong one there.
I think that she's a pretty solid, strong character.
Like even her story ended relatively quick.
Yeah, like it's literally a mother protecting her young.
Yeah.
Like that's a good character. You don't need anything.
Yeah, you don't need anything more than that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Yeah. But I guess I want to go back to the entire structure of the show and the whole background.
Overall.
The overall, right? Like kind of like a big summary of it. I thought I guess it can be summarized like it doesn't need a season 2.
It doesn't
need
a season 2.
What we got in season 1 was just a really solidly written, solidly told, solidly shot, solidly filmed, whatever you want to say, series. And if they just left it at that 12 episode, All of Us Are Dead, just whatever they had there, I'll be completely fine with that. Because what I don't like is when like companies want to like, you know, cash in with all these like IPs and be like, oh hey, look, this one made a lot of money, everyone loved it, let's make a part 2 and try to milk more money out of it. I hate when that happens, because they end up going into the second one like, oh, we can just do everything we did in the last one,
and
just the same,
and then it just completely
it completely flops.
I guess undercuts with the first
and it kind of
season did.
And it kind of tarnishes the reputation of the first one, because like you can be like, oh man, new viewers, season 1 was so good, how about season 2? It wasn't as good as the first one. You know, it's like it's always kind of it always kind of lowers the reputation of the first one.
And even though it's completely fine without season 2, it looks like they're pushing for season 2. With the way that it ended off, that's like they're definitely making
they definitely
season 2.
So the only way I think like the only proper way to make a season 2 is to take the existing characters and then have them grow in a different way. You know, because that's what, like, if you look at successful sequels, what they do is they take everything from the first one and they kind of, well, for example, the one I thought of just right now was Toy Story. You see, that's the story of Woody, like him realizing that he's not putting him up against a person like Buzz, where he doesn't know he's a toy, but Woody knows he's a toy. That self-awareness. Seeing how they grew at the end of it. And then continuing that growth in the second one. Now it's like, you know, if life isn't the whole thing about the second one was like, if life is what's the point of life if you're gonna spend it behind a piece of glass, right?
If you're that's the point of being a toy, if you're just up in a museum
not being played with, right? So it's like see how it kind of still relates. It takes the existing characters and grows them in a different way,
and it like puts a different, like, not spin, but then like you're able to take the same theme and then kind of have a different idea on it. Because
the first one was like,
what if toys came to life?
What if toys came to life? What would their life be like?
That was like the basic
a basic thing of.
But then
what would their life be like? And then it was like, is the life of they know their toys and they know their role.
Yeah.
And then coming up against a person who doesn't know they're a toy.
Yeah.
That whole concept.
I think that it's just that's
that's just
fun.
like a clever
it's
concept.
a fun theme.
But then if that's the only reason, or like the only times I think sequels are good is when they're
able to like do a new concept with him, but do it really well.
So
yeah, and I think they can. I heard like a way that they could do the second
really?
one.
How?
I'm like, oh yeah, that would be a really like how the president girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like basically it seems like they're pretty, it's like she's still infected with the virus, but then it's like she has it under control.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's teaching other people how to gain control over it, basically. And then basically what the idea for the second season could be is like a divide between people who think we can think they're not going to cause any harm and that you can rehabilitate these people, and the people who are against that, like, oh, we're gonna go into another zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. See that it's it's a logical next step, right?
Yeah.
From what you ended on with her being like a Hamby.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I guess it pursues that concept, and like and that would be another way to like grow the characters. Like what are like the moral stuff behind that? Would it be okay for those people to be in a society?
Yeah.
If they're still infected with the virus?
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
And maybe having a backdrop of, remember that there's like that one business guy who found the son and the wife of the guy who created the virus. And basically he's like, yeah, like basically lock him up, and then that's probably gonna be like the next thing if another zombie outbreak happens, then that's probably where it's gonna originate from, and they're probably gonna be like bigger, stronger zombies or something. Yeah. But then you also have the Hambies, whatever you call them. They're like
I'm just using the name.
Yeah, whatever they're calling the show. I forget. But then like have them like be like the souped up like people who are like there to help make a case for them for their existence, basically.
Yeah.
And that's like the way that they can do the second season.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool concept. And if they, from my point of view, if they kept it at one season, I'm completely fine.
It'll be okay. It'll be awesome.
And if they
awesome show,
they go for like second season, that's completely fine too. I just don't like when shows or movies decide to go bigger and better.
Like a good example, perfect example of that is Train to Busan 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into, that because Train to Busan was just such a good ending. Yeah. Like I think of a couple ways they could continued it, but ending it there, I would have been completely okay.
No, like it did not need a sequel.
Yeah,
it was completely fine without a sequel.
But then
seeing the sequel, it's completely fine without the sequel.
Yeah, and
the sequel kind of didn't make sense. It didn't need to be
exactly.
With the concept they tried to pursue, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, and see, on top of that, it's like they try to go bigger and better.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like the Fast and Furious with zombies.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we don't always need to go bigger and better.
Yeah. If they were to do another Train to Busan 2, they should just like keep it grounded, I think.
Yeah, keep it grounded in, because that's not reality, but like just
keep it grounded like how the first one did.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like it wasn't like a humongous concept with like a whole multiverse and like timeline and all that stuff. It just grounded within the movie.
It's like literally you're on a train full of zombies, and
how are you gonna survive?
How are you gonna survive?
We have to get to safety. That's it.
Yeah. So that's what I can appreciate about that first movie.
Yeah.
And how not to do a sequel.
And hopefully All of Us Are Dead season 2 isn't like that. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like that.
Just do what your guys were doing before. You just tell a good story, develop good characters, and
I think you'll have a solid.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you just want a good story.
Yeah, and then
I want a good story.
Like with especially with the arcs, it's just having like being written well, having the characters written well, and having like a satisfying show at the end, show/movie at the end of it. But All of Us Are Dead was a great show, and it was an outstanding show, in all.
Yeah, overall is definitely one that I think I would watch again if I not anytime soon, but like if
because that is a long show. It's a great show, but it's a long show.
But yeah, it has to definitely be up there with one of my top shows I've watched in a long time. Like I have a list of like my favorite shows and movies, and All of Us Are Dead is on that list.
Yeah.
And that was today's convo on All of Us Are Dead. If you guys want to see more of our content, make sure you subscribe and you like this video and leave your comments below. What do you guys think of the show? I really want to know if you guys liked it. What are your favorite parts? And if you guys share our same
like
opinions.
whether you liked it or maybe you didn't like it. What was your like negatives to the show, your cons, the reason why you didn't like it.
Oh wait, did we say it? Did we talk about negatives?
Maybe we can go into that to a different episode.
Yeah, we can talk about negatives in another episode.
Different episodes. Because there were, it definitely wasn't a perfect show. But even though as much we were praising it, and even though it was such a good show, there were some negatives to it.
Okay, then. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching Bros with Convos. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Back to you guys later.